but Calvin Smith is with us as ever for the African news. Hi there, Georgia. What have you got for us?
Hi, Catherine. Okay, now Mugabe says that at the end of a unity government, that means foreign-owned businesses better watch out. Also, warring unions in South Africa talk reconciliation, hoping to end bloodshed ahead of the one-year anniversary of the Marikana mine massacre. And Cissé bows out as Malians find out the name of their new president. This even before official results are out. It is, as widely predicted, IBK. But first, Robert Mugabe says he's now been re-elected as president and he'll be forcing more foreign-owned firms to sell up to local investors. Having already led Zimbabwe for 33 years, Mugabe declared that his new 5-year term gives him a chance to finish what he's calling the last chapter of fiercely nationalistic plans to redistribute wealth in favour of black Zimbabweans. Multinational platinum producers have already been targeted, and banks like Standard & Chartered and Barclays are likely in the government sights.
The indigenization and empowerment drive will continue unabated in order to ensure that indigenous Zimbabweans enjoy a larger share of the country's resources.
Well, Nicholas Koch is a journalist and business analyst who was in Harare for last month's elections. He joins us now from Johannesburg. Nicholas, now this is exactly what foreign investors didn't want to hear. Isn't pushing indigenization just going to take Zimbabwe backwards from the slight economic progress made under the unity government?
Yes, I should just make clear I'm working for Business Day newspaper in South Africa as a journalist. Yes, I think that is correct. It will be very difficult to prove that the new pressure from the government of President Mugabe towards, as it's called, indigenization, that is to say, the compulsory sale of or ownership of businesses in Zimbabwe to black Zimbabweans owning 51% of those big industries and big businesses. Very hard to prove that is going to attract any investment in.
Now, Zimbabwe is suffering from a bloated unemployment rate, jittery investment prospects. The country faces huge economic challenges. Has Mugabe set out much else in the way of economic policy going forward?
Well, he said very clearly during the campaign and now subsequently in the last few days, he's serious about pushing for this indigenization, black empowerment, nationalization, that there won't be any free rides or easy rides for foreign investors unless they're prepared to play ball with those policies. And I think what you have to remember, though, is that for 13 million Zimbabweans still in the country, there are 3-4 million outside the country. These are economic migrants in the great majority. And South Africa in particular represents a pretty important pressure valve. Young people in particular, who do not want to stay in the country, who don't see any future for themselves, can leave, and they go to South Africa.
Thanks very much. Nicholas Koch there speaking to us from Johannesburg. Okay, now, terrified for their safety, a steady stream of residents left the Nigerian town of Konduga on Tuesday, 2 days after dozens of people were shot dead in a mosque there. Now, the massacre has been blamed on jihadist militants from Boko Haram, believed to have been sending a bloody warning to local vigilantes. Josh Vardy tells us more.
The scars of violence in Nigeria's northeast, all remnants of attacks linked to Islamist group Boko Haram. The latest, a raid on a mosque in which scores of worshippers died, was thought to be a revenge attack targeting local vigilantes. People from the area have been encouraged to form their own armed groups and help the Nigerian military drive Boko Haram away.
Our family, brothers, sisters, parents are being killed. We still don't have peace and we're fed up. We want to clean up our city back to what it used to be.
The military was sent in after Nigerian authorities declared a state of emergency in the northeast in May. They claim to have made huge advances in crushing the Boko Haram insurgency since then, but bad communications and limited access to the area has made that hard to verify. Boko Haram's leader, Boubacar Keita, has also claimed in videos that his group is as strong as ever.
You are just deceiving people. We are in good health. We are carrying out Allah's command. Our aim is to establish an Islamic State. Propaganda will not destroy us.
Since 2009, over 3,600 people have died in the conflict, both due to Boko Haram attacks as well as the army itself, who have also been accused of major abuses on civilians.
Now, after the shooting yesterday of an official, a militant South African union has extended an olive branch to a rival Labour group ahead of the one-year anniversary of the Marikana mines massacre. The AMCU has invited the NUM to a ceremony on Friday to honour, together, the 34 miners shot dead by police at the Lonmin site last year. The NUM leader, gunned down Monday, will also be commemorated. A turf war between the two unions has led to escalating violence that has claimed at least a dozen lives over the last year. Well, Mali's next president will be IBK, former Prime Minister Ibrahim Boubacar Keita. Now, his rival for the top job, Soumaïla Cissé, has conceded defeat and went with his family to IBK's home to offer his congratulations late last night. While Cissé has vowed to build a credible opposition, but his dignified acceptance of defeat has boosted faith that Mali's political classes can together lead the country back to stability. Over a year of turmoil has featured a coup, a foreign military intervention against a jihadist invasion, and Cissé has told France 24 he's hoping for national reconciliation under IBK.
Today we must try to tackle and quickly solve the problems that we face. We must reconcile the Malian people, and that's why I made this gesture, which seemed to me very important given the fragile situation we find ourselves in today.
Now, official results are expected on Wednesday, and they will likely confirm IBK's win, no doubt about that. France 24's Thomas Martinez is in Bamako, and he joins us now. Thomas, there's no question that it'll be IBK taking office in September, but his camp's actually been surprisingly quiet about this victory. What's all that about?
We're not sure. Ibika hasn't said anything really since last night. We had a few tweets this morning, which all he said was, Soumaïla Cissé and his wife came to my house and wished me congratulations on my victory. And he congratulated them on a race well run. Since then, we've heard almost nothing from the camp. Enthusiasm for this second round of elections has been extremely low, and nobody's really sure why. Enthusiasm for the first round was very high. The candidates started their rallies here in Bamako. At Ibeka's rally, over 40,000 people attended. After that, the candidates went all across the country. Ibeka himself made it as far up north as Kidal. The second round, however, things just seem to be dulled down. We can speculate as to why, be it Eid, bad weather, or just a short campaign season, but neither candidate really seemed to put much effort in. Ibeka himself didn't even make any appearances during the campaign. On election day, he made a small appearance at the poll, stating a few words, but then since then, we've heard almost nothing from the candidate. That seems to reflect the general experience here in Bamako.
Now, unfortunately, Thomas, we're running out of time, but just very quickly, the importance of returning to democracy has been a precondition for receipt of billions in foreign aid. Now, that's not actually going to be that big a task for Mali, considering its recent political history.
That's right. Starting in the early 90s, Mali became a democracy here, and for almost 20 years, it had been a beacon in this part of the world. It was one of the few countries that had a stable democracy that other parts of the world could turn to. Since then, people have been looking at Mali, while some people criticize the international community for putting pressure on Mali. Here in Mali, people wanted their help. They wanted to get back to this, and I think they're very glad that they'll be returning to the way they had been for the last 2 decades.
Thanks very much, Thomas Martinez there. Okay, now Central African Republic celebrates its 53rd year of independence from France today. The anniversary finds the country in a troubled state. Interim leader Michel Djotodia today vowed to rein in the circulation of weapons in the country and stop rogue rebels from seriously abusing civilians. The country has been plunged into chaos since a coup back in March.
The operation to secure the capital of the Central African Republic, Bangui, has been underway for a month and a half now. It is being jointly carried out by 1,000 troops from FOMAC, the multinational Central African Force, and members of Seleka, the Central African Security Force now being restructured.
We are looking for ex-Seleka rebels who are still in uniform on the streets and making it unsafe for people.
On this morning, the patrol is headed for the northern exit of the capital, Bangui. Homes in a 100-unit housing project there were pillaged and vandalized by Seleka rebels. Unidentified officers are now illegally occupying villas, having kicked out the residents, who say they feel hopeless.
We bought houses, but now people have moved in. We don't know whom we can trust.
Since soldiers with FOMAC began disarming militia groups in Bangui, there's been a lot less gunfire heard in the capital. However, residents still live in fear. Civil society members are afraid to talk openly about the security situation. They have circulated a petition condemning human rights abuses in the Central African Republic.
There has been a lot of abuse, a lot of killings and assassinations carried out by Seleka ex-rebels.
Residents in Bangui also accuse Chadian soldiers of pillaging and attacking people. A petition has been circulated demanding that Chadian troops be sent back to their capital, N'Djamena.
That wraps up African news for me for now, but I will be back in an hour.
All right, thanks very much indeed,
Thanks,
Georgia Calvin-Smith there with all the latest news from Africa. Do stay tuned to France 24, the international news coming up in very few minutes' time with my colleague Mark Owen.